Hello there. Welcome to Just the Dis. My name is Brian, and we talk about Blu-rays here, and I'm trying something not particularly new, but just more bite-sized content. This is going to be a spooky trio where I talk about just like 3 Blu-rays as opposed to a bigger group, and, they are good for Halloween time. So let's get into this. We'll start with ELVIRA'S Haunted Hills, which obviously collector's edition from Scream Factory, brand new and really nice set. It comes in the hard slip case, I guess, or slip box, and it's very nice. This, of course, is the follow-up to her previous film, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, which I have here the Arrow Blu-ray of. And if you are a fan of Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, I would think you would enjoy this film as well. There's a certain kind of, I don't want to say dopey, but just sort of broad, goofy, slapsticky humor that is present in the Elvira films. And this one really carries on with a lot of the same kind of energy as the first movie. However, this one has a more modern setting, whereas this is a period piece that is more in line with things like, it's a comedy, but it takes a lot of influence from Roger Corman and the Corman Vincent Price Poe films, including The Pit and the Pendulum, mostly, with a little bit of like House of Usher, The Haunted Palace, Tomb of Ligeia, and Fearless Vampire Killers, as well as like a dash of, Young Frankenstein. It's that kind of goofy dad joke kind of humor. There's a lot of Elvira getting her boobs grabbed in this movie. I guess that's sort of a regular part of the kind of humor that they do in these. But it's just silly. You can totally see the Tomb of Ligeia on the back here, like the glasses and everything. That's very, very much like the Vincent Price glasses. And it sounds like from the commentary that there's just a ton of production design things where they were taking from, these different Corman films and, making sets that echoed this Haunted Palace set or whatever. I think it was shot mostly, or if not, well, maybe not all, but mostly in Romania with Romanian crews. And that is definitely referred to a lot in the commentary. It is a new 4K restoration of the original camera negative. It includes a new introduction by Elvira herself, which is great. And then the audio commentary is one of those sort of fun, group tracks. So it has actors Cassandra Peterson, that's Elvira, Mary Scheer, Mary Jo Smith, and Scott Atkinson, as well as director Sam Irvin. It also has a couple featurettes, making of, and a Transylvania or Bust featurette, an interview with actor Richard O'Brien, and some outtakes. So it's a nice, robust collector's edition. And the commentary is just a lot of fun. It's just them making jokes and, talking about specific memories of the set, but in a very light and jovial way. So it's very much like hanging out with this group and just having a good time watching the movie. Elvira has a very good sense of humor about the whole thing, and it really seems to have fond memories of this film, and talks about how they produced it and all that she did on it. And she's a co-writer with John Paragon, who of course is Jambi the Genie from Pee-wee's Playhouse, and he has some good lines. There's one in particular joke where they're talking about what the village people are saying, and Elvira's like, who listens to village people anymore? And she said that's one of the biggest laughs in the movie, and it's a John Paragon joke. But anyway, a very fun, goofy comedy. And again, if you're in that sort of Young Frankenstein-y kind of mode, I would say, it's more along the lines of like Saturday the 14th or something like that. Just that very broad, spoofy slapstick This is a fun one. So I'd never even really known that this got made. Somehow I missed completely that she had made a second movie. And so I was excited that this was coming out, and Scream Factory did a very nice job with this and gave it really the deluxe treatment, especially with this wonderful, slip box. Really, really sweet release. So number 2 in my trio is Trick or Treats. This is from 1980. Oh, shoot. I forget what year. I want to say early 80s. 82. And it's got a pretty crazy cast. This is a re-release. It had been out previously in a Code Red Blu-ray, and now it's through Code Red and Kino, and has this nice slip case. No alternate artwork, but that's okay. I really like the artwork of this one. And so this cast is pretty cool. It's Peter Jason, who is a regular in John Carpenter films, David Carradine, who everybody knows, Carrie Snodgrass, who I'm a big fan of. She was in a movie called Diary of a Mad Housewife, a Frank Perry movie that's really good. So she's in this. Steve Railsback is in this. Paul Bartel is in it at one point as like a wino on the street. And it's written, photographed, and directed by Gary Graver, who was an Orson Welles collaborator for a long time. And so it's very much his vision. And it's interesting. It's a little bit of a slow burner, but it has this crazy opening scene where Carrie Snodgrass calls like the loony bin on her husband, Peter Jason, and these two orderly dudes show up, and one of them is actually one of the killer goons from Cloak and Dagger. The big brown-haired, curly-haired guy is one of the goons, one of the orderlies that shows up and drags him away, and it's this really awkward scene of him like struggling and getting chased around the pool and throwing them in the pool, and then finally getting him in the straitjacket and dragging him away. And it's like a little tough to watch because I like Peter Jason. I think he's a good actor. And so then we cut to like, I guess 5 years later, and we're seeing this woman who is going to end up babysitting for the Carrie Snodgrass character, her very obnoxious son, who's like one of those kids who's into Halloween costumes and makeup and scaring people and pretending to be dead, and just really annoying kid, unfortunately. So anyway, this woman is babysitting for Carrie Snodgrass. She leaves for the night, and she's going to be back. She is now dating David Carradine, or they're together. I can't remember. And, they're dressed up. This is a Halloween night movie, if you're into that vibe, which, is fun to have movies that are set on Halloween night. And so then it just becomes a thing where, the babysitter is hanging out with this annoying kid, and we see that Peter Jason is getting out of the insane asylum, and he is going to, I guess, try and find his way back to his house and to try and mess with his ex-wife or whatever. And so a lot of the movie is just, there's not a lot of tension because we know it's going to take a while for Peter Jason to get back to the house and stuff. So it's more just like this woman and this annoying kid constantly playing pranks on her. And that's sort of the main thrust of the movie. That's like the first hour of the movie or so. And then it starts to get a little bit more intense. Let's see here. Some extras. You get the high def master from an original 35mm camera negative, audio commentary with stars Jackie Giroux. I think she's the sitter, maybe. Peter Jason and Chris Graver, and cameraman R. Michael Stringer, and that's moderated by Sean Graver. There's an audio interview with actor Steve Railsback, who, Railsback is like this Shakespearean actor. He's in like full armor or something when he's calling and talking to the girl who's the babysitter, and I guess he's gonna like come by later or whatever. But he's very funny as this like snooty sort of, again, Shakespearean theater actor. You know, he's just very, I don't know. It's funny to see Railsback, who I just consider like a really, you know, nuts and bolts actor, be like pretentious like this. So I'm a fan of the whole cast, and so that definitely keeps my interest watching just this cast hang out. And so then lastly, we have the this new documentary, Dark Shadows and Beyond, the Jonathan Frid story. And this one is from MPI Entertainment, and it's kind of epic in terms of there's a lot of stuff happening here. But it's dealing, speaking of Shakespearean actors, this is dealing with Jonathan Frid, who would go on to play Barnabas Collins in the Dark Shadows TV show and movies, and would just become this cult icon, you know? And so this is the story of his life. And this is the first feature-length documentary devoted to Canadian-born actor Jonathan Frid, who became a television sensation with his portrayal of guilt-ridden vampire Barnabas Collins on Dark Shadows, the 1966 to 1971 daytime drama that remains a beloved cult classic today. The spooky gothic serial attracted not only housewives and college students, but also millions of school kids who ran home each afternoon, turning the classically trained 40-something Frid into a romantic figure, an unlikely teen idol. I mean, yeah, for folks that don't know, Dark Shadows was like basically a soap opera, a daytime soap that they decided to turn into a vampire show. They made one of the characters a vampire, and suddenly it just blew up and became this huge hit, you know, and this cult phenomenon. I've always found that fascinating, just the idea that it started as one thing and became this other. Who was the man beneath the vampire's cloak? The documentary reveals Frid's personal and professional struggles, artistic triumphs, and rise to fame in part through his own written correspondence, recited by Ian Buchanan, among family, friends, and co-workers who, after fresh insights, are veteran talk show host and Yale Drama School classmate Dick Cavett, actresses Marion Ross, Christina Pickles, let's see here, San Diego National Shakespeare Festival co-star Anthony Zerbe, and Dark Shadows colleagues David Selby, Laura Parker, Catherine Lee Scott, Nancy Barrett, Marie Wallace, James Storm, John Carlin, and Dan Curtis. And also includes rare performance materials, lost footage, previously unseen interviews, and archival images from Frid's personal collection. So it really goes deep with a lot of personal stuff. You can see the features here. There's a play of the week, Henry V Part 1, or Henry IV Part 1. Dark Shadows Festival and PBS TV promos. Dark Shadows Special with Jonathan Frid, so that's cool for fans. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow read by Jonathan Frid, very cool. Dark Shadows Letter, Vintage Dark Shadows TV promo, Jonathan Frid photo gallery, The Best of Barnabas. So yeah, just a really nice set, all told. And the special features themselves run a couple hours. So you have the documentary and the features. And yeah, so I just think this is a cool thing for Halloween time. If you're into Dark Shadows or vampires, why not hear the story behind one of the most famous vampires in popular culture in some ways. So yeah, so that's it for this spooky trio. Just wanted to give you guys a few things to think about and maybe watch during October. So thank you for watching, and I'll try to do some more of these this month. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.